Shalom everyone, Lieutenant Colonel in the Reserves Jonathan here with a daily update. Today we will be speaking about the situation in northern Gaza. I'll give you a few updates about a special Hamas compound that our troops were able to dismantle after they conquered it from Hamas and killed the Hamas operatives who were hiding there. I'll show you what's in there, how close it is to civilians, to schools, to clinics and many other civilian facilities. We'll speak about that. Then about how Hamas combatants are dressed while they are fighting. And then we'll speak about humanitarian aid and temporary humanitarian corridors that are allowing Palestinians to evacuate northern Gaza to relative safety in the south. And then we'll speak about the humanitarian aid that is coming into Gaza from the south. Let's begin, as always, with our map, and let's zoom in here on a certain area in northwestern Gaza. You see between Jabalia and Shati. We're going to zoom in on this area here, and I'll show you an illustration of what we found in this compound here. Very interesting things of Hamas activities, where we have a mix, the usual Hamas mix of terror and military compounds next to mosques, next to clinics, and most importantly schools. And as you can see on our illustration here, we're now going to zoom in into combat footage that Israeli troops took just after conquering this area. You can see the weapons that are being stocked here, variety of combat equipment, rocket launchers, mortars, other types of weaponry that they are storing in direct proximity, next door basically, to a school. These are pictures of Israeli soldiers from the Givati infantry brigade that were part of the troops that conquered it. And as you can see here, peeking through the wall, quite interesting. We saw a weapons HQ next to it, what appears to be a school, an outdoor class of Palestinian schools. And if we zoom forward a bit, we can see this is a school compound. It looks like a school compound, but what actually we have inside is an intelligence headquarters belonging to Hamas and other terrorist organizations. Of course, we are now going through that intelligence, learning a lot about what Hamas has and what they've been doing in that area. And here is an explanation a little bit about the weapons, rocket launchers, ammunition stored, all of that next to a school in the heart of the populated area in Gaza. I'll fast forward. By the way, this movie, we're going to release it, it's going to be on the Twitter, on our Twitter just after we finish this briefing, and you can see and run and rerun this illustration and understand what exactly is on the ground and how Hamas again co-locates between the military and the civilian, and by doing so greatly endangers the civilian population, in this case schools and even playgrounds for children. If we go back to the map and if we zoom in on that same area, you can see that there are many civilian uses of the area. This compound has now been taken by the IDF, cleared, no Hamas operatives there, at least above ground, and we will continue our briefing. Now let's speak a little bit about Hamas. This is a video that they shared. Take a look at the guy who is on his way with an RPG launcher. He's on his way to strike Israeli tanks. Check out what he's wearing. That is not a uniform. That is civilian clothing. He does not distinguish himself from the civilian population. I'm sure that once he will die, maybe he's already dead. Hamas didn't show our retaliation, obviously, on their propaganda videos, but once he will meet his maker, it'll be in civilian clothes. And then I ask, will the Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Ministry put him in the column of civilians killed in fighting? Or will it be the ever-elusive category of 17 to 35-year-old males, which is very much missing from the numbers presented by the Hamas-controlled authority? Civilian clothes, weapons in his hands, and then of course he goes on to shoot towards Israeli troops. He's not the only one in civilian clothing, so are his comrades. This operative, this combatant as well, between the rubble and the various activities that they do, fire towards our troops. Our active defense is able to deal with the incoming threat, and the point here being no distinction between military and civilian, abuse of civilian facilities, and the fact that they are not fighting in uniform. By the way, when Hamas terrorists invaded into Israel on October the 7th, they were all in uniform. They even had IDF uniforms. So I don't think that there's a shortage of uniforms in Hamas.